like I said, without clear leadership and vision, what had once been a school of pretty good relationships had become splintered. And one of the consequences of that were there were a number of staff who tried to fill that void with their own leadership. And that inevitably led to disagreements between staff and different groups of staff, and quite a lot of ill will and ill feeling had grown out of that. And I found out, well, I realised that that feeling was also influencing how the staff behaved towards the children as well. I'll give you an example from really early on. There's one young man who has influenced my career all the way through from when I first met him, when I started in school leadership as a deputy head, and there have been, I call him Tony. There have been a number of Tonys, but there's one core one that really has had a major influence on me. So this is an example of what I witnessed when I first arrived. So I'm in the upper school corridor, year 5-6 building, and Tony comes, it's about 7:45 in the morning, Tony bangs through the door really loudly from the playground and comes running down the corridor, and one of the Year 6 teachers steps out the classroom, sees Tony running down, having heard the door banging loudly, and literally looks at him and goes, "What do you think you're doing in here at this time, boy?" And Tony, quite rightly, I believe, took one look at him and said, "Why don't you just write off?" Yeah.
Yeah.
And he ran out again. That was it. He was gone. Teachers realised I was there, looked a bit sheepish, but then decided to go on the attack and said to me, "Did you hear what he just said to me? He can't do that. You need to exclude him." And I have to say my response at the time was, "Do you know what? If you'd approached me like that first thing this morning, I might have given you a similar response." Yeah. How dare you, you know, calling him boy, he's called Tony. That's his name. And you have no idea why he's come in like that this morning. But actually, you know, we'll talk about this later. And I need to go and find out where he is. Yeah. So I went out to the playground and I found Tony. And he was really unhappy, as you can imagine. He came in unhappy and he then had that. I managed to convince him to come to my office and sit in the comfy chair. Tony always called it the chair.